Weekly Game Talk. This week we're back to discuss Life is Strange Episode 2. So many insane things happened in this episode, so let's get right into the conversation. Welcome back, everybody, to this week's episode of Weekly Game Talk. I'm joined again this week with two people who you should be familiar with at this point, JP Smee and Will. Welcome back, fellas.
Yo.
Today we're here to talk about the second chapter of Life is Strange Episode 2. The Life is Strange Episode 1 was actually the first game that we discussed in a Weekly Game Talk episode. JP Smee and I were both huge fans of pretty much every aspect of the game. My only pain point was the controls for the PC, which JP Smee was kind enough to point out. I had totally screwed up the fact that you could play with a controller. So, other than that, we both really, really enjoyed Episode 1. However, Will, you were not here with us that episode to give us your thoughts about Episode 1. Since that episode, you have played the first one, so we'll really get the ball rolling with you and kind of catch up. So, with the visual style, music, gameplay, basically everything not related to the story, how did you feel about Episode 1?
So, I mean, the graphics really work. I wasn't too interested in this game when I heard about it because I didn't know everything about the gameplay mechanics. But I really did like Episode 1 a lot, even though I didn't expect to. I definitely did.
Did anything
really works.
Anything? Okay, well let's lump in the story conversation now. So what surprised you the most about Episode 1? What were things you liked the most? Was there anything you didn't like about Episode 1?
Well, definitely the gameplay mechanic of actually being able to go back and forth in the timeline. I didn't expect that, and I wasn't seeing that. So when that actually first occurred with all of the special effects they used in the game, the sound and the way it distorts the what you're seeing, that really worked. And I was playing it with my girlfriend. We got a huge kick out of that. I don't play these games at all. Like, I don't play the old adventure style or this style of game, and it was pretty surprising. Only gripe though, really overall, is sometimes they put you in awkward situations where there's always always going to be a negative outcome. But I'm sure you guys talked about that.
That's life, son. That's life.
Yeah, that's
son.
life. It's kind of
But you can always change your mind.
Yeah.
Maybe.
You can, but I get what he's saying. Sometimes
Yeah.
you had to pick the lesser, what you considered to be the lesser of two evils. There really was
Right.
no perfect, correct, or easy way out of a situation. One way or the other, you had to do something that was going to be potentially game altering. So
yeah, and for what it tries to do, it's pretty great. Definitely the graphics style, the hand-drawn style of the photos, posters, and even like the characters all kind of really fit.
were there any big choices that you made that you can remember? For example, when it came to the principal and either choosing to rat out Nathan or not ratting out Nathan, what did you do?
Based on the fact that you're kind of playing the character that you're playing,
Mm-hmm.
that played a role in the decisions that I made. So I instantly just reported them because you see it.
Right.
And if you
so
know
you were role playing a little
also
bit.
a deadly
You were
weapon.
getting into
That's
the
a
mind of the
little bit,
character.
that's kind of when you should report it, is when you see,
That's
and then
all
you
with a deadly weapon.
fucking reverse time, and you see it not happen. That's when you can tell without having a bad conscience.
Right. Okay. So
But
what
that
about
leads into the gripe though. When you're trying to like impose your will on others, there's always a negative outcome.
right?
So I have a question real quick. I got to jump in because
ahead.
this was the big question. I thought.
I know what you're gonna ask.
How did you resolve the pot situation at the end?
Oh, I took the blame.
You took the blame.
Yeah, right.
Am I like the only person who did not like?
I see. I just don't know how you got into the stinking closet, dude. Because I tried, and everything came crashing down, and it was awful. And yeah, I got caught. So, okay.
Well, even though
Well,
I,
you and I,
I
we are good friends apparently.
you have the option to intervene even if you do go into the closet. Like I had that option. I just chose not to. I just chose to let the situation play out because I figured he had. I figured based on the situation earlier where you, well, see, I intervened when he was bullying Kate. Um, Will,
Right.
did you intervene or did you just take a fucking picture?
I didn't at first, and then rewound and decided to intervene.
Okay,
Did not take a picture, which has
so
a
the
big
other
effect.
jackass that's with us just took a goddamn picture. Um,
Yeah, and that
and
plays really big into
yep,
episode two.
and let the situation play out. So, but anyway, because I intervened, I figured if I didn't hide or if I hid and then came out of hiding, that he, what's his name, David, I think it is. He and I already have bad blood. Like he's not. I'm not going to help the situation. I'm just going to make the situation worse. He's going to be like, oh, you're that annoying little snot that I ran into earlier today. And this situation, I didn't want him to go off to the handle any more than he already was. He was hitting people like,
Yeah, that little
So
affluenza son of a
pretty
bitch.
much, yeah. Well, I mean, they try to play the whole. They kind of seem like they're going to like PTSD kind of thing. Um, they keep pointing out well that he was a soldier and he had a hard life and maybe, you know, the impact of the things that he's seen has taken a psychological toll on him. They seem to be trying to kind of paint him into that corner a little bit.
I
Um,
I wonder if it's because you guys did that choice, because I didn't get any of that
oh,
at
nice.
all in episode two. Other than he was a soldier, and that's about all that I got. But none about his experiences and
Well, they don't get into specifics. They definitely it's very broad stroke, but I might be reading in between the lines a little bit, but that's the impression that I get based on the fact that I think it's come up at least 2 or 3 times that he used to be a soldier. Like I kind of feel like they're pointing that fact out for a reason.
Mhm.
That's feeding into his paranoia and his very militantism, like the way he handles things, the way he carries himself.
Right.
Um, he's seen some shit and it's definitely affected him. That's the impression that I'm getting. But so all right. Well, I think we've pretty much covered. That was a kind of a nice little recap of the last episode. So let's jump into this episode. Um, a lot happened. It a lot happened. But for me, like even though there a lot did happen and it took place at different locations within the game, this
Which, by the
episode
way, I loved. Go
I
on.
did.
Sorry.
Yeah, it was nice to see more of the city, more of the area, but it went fast for me. Like I felt like this episode was a good hour shorter than the last, and maybe it's just because I was used to the mechanic and I was used to the world and all of that. But man, it just seemed to scream along. I didn't mind that. I just when it eventually reached its end, I was like, oh wow, that happened a lot sooner than I remember the last episode ending. But that aside, let's before we get into the big key decisions, let's just kind of talk a little bit about um, generically what we liked and what we didn't like. So JP Smee, what were the things you liked about this episode?
The introduction of something that I predicted last time, and I was very happy to see it come to fruition, of consequence. It's clear now that your powers are they're hurting you, and it wasn't just in my head. Like the whole nosebleed, saw it
Right.
coming, and I'm totally okay with that. Um, yeah, because this power is way too powerful. Powerful, whatever. You know what I'm saying?
No, yeah,
Like
she's it's a little OP, a little OP.
it's seriously OP, and the fact that she has this, and there is a consequence that she's starting to maybe not understand yet, but she's aware of that there is in fact a consequence. Um,
And
really
not just
happy.
nosebleeds, but like full on blackout spells
Oh
and
yeah, yeah. And I mean, we
craziness.
kind of had one in episode one, but it wasn't clear if it was a blackout or if it was her like jumping in time. Now it's no, it was a blackout. Like
Right.
she
Yeah.
she really was losing consciousness,
Yep.
and that's not bad, or that's not a good thing. You don't. It's not good when your when your brain just shuts off.
Right.
Um.
But it's
So
not
yeah,
bad from a storytelling perspective because
no.
it
And
provides greater weight to the decisions you're making. And
it does.
yeah.
And if anything, it really like legitimately within the game made me really hesitant to use my power. So like
Right.
I found myself as the game progressed, and there were definitely moments when it was like, no, you really need to use your power. I was like, I don't want to,
Right.
I felt like maybe there's some kind of hidden counter or something, that's like adding up like how
Right.
much I use the power, and it's going to kill me dead more or something,
Right. Right. Right.
the more I use it. So.
Yeah. Okay. So, Will, what were some of the things you liked about this episode?
I was kind of surprised with the sequences where they make you observe the world and and then kind of report back. I learned it's like basically a memory mini game, right? So you kind of learn how to do those. It probably took me 5 or 6 tries to get through the diner,
Oh, to
but
realize that you really do need to actually physically look around to see what's happening.
yeah, and then
Um,
but then the reward of it after when you get it right, the camera's different and it actually plays out, and then that's rewarding for some. It's a lot more rewarding than I would expect.
right.
So even though I actually was originally going to bitch about that, but that's one of the things that stands out about it that makes it a game. Um, so yeah, I like that, and and I'll talk about my gripes later. Basically,
Okay.
think if I can say anything of what I liked. Um, yeah, I think that's about all I can think of right now.
Well, for me, I liked the different environments. I liked that we weren't just in the school, um, or indoors. It was nice being outdoors in a location that wasn't the front yard of the school or outside the dorm. I really liked the whole junkyard sequence. Um, I liked the diner sequence too. That was fun. I agree, Will. It was neat. Um, I liked that you were being tested, and by Chloe, she really wanted to kind of take your powers for a spin, and it was fun to indulge her for a little bit. Um, I probably could have done without the whole gathering 5 beer cans and shooting them sequence. I didn't really feel like that added a lot to the episode because you just did a power test. This really
Yeah,
didn't further that very much.
definitely.
So,
Episode
so,
two had
so
a lot of unnecessary BS
Yeah.
going
it
on.
did, but I kind of want to jump in and ask you guys a question.
Yeah.
So, with regards to the shooting sequence, um, raise your hand if you killed Chloe.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay,
Several
definitely.
times.
because I was kind of curious if I was the only one who would have done that because I think that would have been hilarious and really awful all at the same time. Yeah, okay.
Well, they make it so that happens, which is kind of a gripe that I have.
No way,
If
man.
you
Wait,
if
wait,
you,
wait, 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 wait.
I
Which time? Because
when
the
you're shooting at bottles.
okay, yeah, because that's totally like doesn't have to happen. It's just
No,
if
it
you
didn't for
shoot the
it didn't for
bumper.
me. I actually played that part twice because
Well,
I
if you
closed without saving, um, and
I think it was the bumper. Yeah.
yeah, I can't
yeah,
remember. I can't remember which car part it was, but I played that part twice. And the second time, I was like, "Well, what's going to happen if I choose a different car part?" And sure enough, it was the one where she gets shot in the chest, and I'm like, "Oh shit!
well,
Rewind
that's
time!"
and if you don't
So
choose something, she says, "Oh, I guess I'll shoot the bumper."
yeah,
Oh, really?
yeah, she
Yes.
does. Yeah,
Oh, I
yeah.
didn't know that. Okay, so I guess the game does kind of force you into that,
There
but
are
It's
some
a
still.
little
decisions where
ridiculous.
it does feel like there is a time pressure mechanic where if you don't make a
Yes.
choice, then something's going to happen. But then there's other times where it's like maybe it's the weightier decisions, but it seems like they literally just let it hang there, waiting for you to
Hmm.
make a decision. So it gives you a chance to really kind of mull over your options. It's probably those questions where there really isn't going to be a clear right or wrong situation where
Right.
it's really a moral / judgment call on your end. Um, but anyway, yeah, I like the junkyard sequence. I like. Now, did you guys go into the little shack and see all the stuff that kind of shed more light on the relationship between Chloe and Rachel Amber?
Yeah, yeah, I saw that.
Yes.
That was cool.
So, like, they could have. I like that part of it. I feel like they could have either had you two go to that place, and then maybe she's listening to music and you're walking around the room seeing that stuff. Kind of like how it was with episode 1, where you went to her room at the house and walked around while she was chilling on the bed, hitting a blunt. But I don't know. The gun stuff was fun. It seemed tacked on. And I understand that rolled directly into the sequence that plays out as one of the major choices of that episode with the drug dealer, which we'll get into in a second. But yeah. Anyway, so
Yeah,
I like the different locations. I like the this episode goes from like 0 to 60 in terms of just decisions without too many consequences to holy shit, what's going on? What the hell am I going to do now?
Right.
At the end. So I like that because I wasn't getting bored, but I was getting kind of just like lured into a false sense of, I have these powers. I'm not going to be, I can do whatever I want. Like, I'm not really worried about things because I can always undo them. And then you reach that point at the end where she's so affected by the use of her powers that she really doesn't know if she's going to be able to turn back time, and all your choices at that point may be like you are stuck with them. So I
love
like that.
by the way.
Yeah, I like that they give you all this freedom and then suddenly rip it all away. And I was genuinely terrified about every single choice I made.
but at
at
the
that
same
point.
time, giving
So,
her an awesome superpower.
so
Another
yeah,
one.
yeah, exactly. So
Well, it made her a better rounded character.
right.
I mean, I loved it. So
So it was. I love that contrast. So dislikes. I will start because I kind of already did. I didn't like the sequence in the junkyard. I think that was really about it. Honestly, I think I pretty much covered it. For the most part, I really liked the episode. Some of the side characters, like Samuel's the janitor, I kind of feel like he's the stereotypical awkward janitor character. That's either in like a bunch of movies or games. Some of the
you
melodrama is a
happen
little weird.
Did you happen to discover the interesting things that he has?
Um, like what? 'Cause I
Because
don't remember.
he has a stash that you can find if you go back into the room with the pump from the
Mm-hmm.
first episode, and he has stuff. It looks like he's collecting maybe tokens of people, specifically Rachel. It was kind of
Hmm.
creepy. So
So there you go. See, my vibe is proving true. He's
right, and I mean, I gathered, I was expecting that to kind of be a thing too, but yeah, it's that.
never trust
Not,
somebody that refers to themselves in the third person. Just don't.
yeah,
Mm-mm.
it's bad.
Bad things. Bad things gonna happen. But so other than a little bit of other more teenage melodrama stuff, which is to be expected in a game about teenagers.
Right.
I really there wasn't the only thing that I really wasn't that big a fan of, and it wasn't that it was bad. I just didn't think it added anything. Was the beginning of the junkyard. But what about you, Will? Was there? You kind of hinted that there were things you didn't like. So what were those?
Some of it fell a little flat for me. Like embodying a 17-year-old is a little totes cray for me. Um,
18-year-old
like
dude. She's legal.
Yeah,
oh, well,
yeah, they
18.
She
actually
18.
specified that at one point.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
but she. I
Otherwise,
mean,
that would be creepy. The whole shower sequence would be really inappropriate.
yeah. I mean, they didn't make it adult at all, and they make her kind of really extra vulnerable. Like she's really small and frail and whatever.
I mean,
I'm
it
sure
is
that was thought out.
it is a little
Yeah.
odd because they point out that she's 18, but she definitely looks like she's 12. But yeah, I can see
Yeah.
that's a little.
Yeah, and
It
she
can be
wears like the
odd.
9-year-old pajamas. It's a little like I don't know,
Yeah,
but
but I
She's
mean,
young at
I
heart,
feel
man.
like,
She's
well,
a
I was
geek.
thinking like I think they're trying to show that she's still finding herself, and that's ultimately what the story is probably about. Is
but
Hmm.
just finding herself.
it's interesting at times. Like in the diner, one of the ladies is called Weird Lady,
Yes,
and if you talk to her, she's just a Canadian.
Yep.
yes,
So the world
yes.
is through the eyes of a youngster, and that's
Right.
all. It's pretty makes the game ridiculous and also entertaining, and I don't know, just a little baffling. Not sure
I
why I like it.
I can I will be okay if I don't have to hear the word hella one more time.
Yeah,
Um, I am definitely over that, and I don't think I've ever really heard someone of that age group use that word as frequently as they do in this game.
yeah,
So I'm not really sure where they thought that was a part of common vernacular, but I'm okay if they don't use it anymore.
yeah. I wonder if they ever discuss where she got this power.
Oh, I'm sure it has to
And I don't know
be
if we talked
explored later
about
on.
I don't know if we talked about the whole the whole out of time thing. Like you guys realized that they were trying to insinuate that they're in some sort of time bubble now.
I had suspected that. That was definitely one of my theories. That I mean, especially the whole storm thing
Right.
seems to kind of point to that.
Well, he also said I didn't. He said there's not supposed to be an eclipse today.
Right.
It's not if it's not scheduled, but it happens. Clearly, they're out of the real
Well, maybe
timeline
Possibly.
of
not out
the
of the real, but yeah, definitely. It kind of implies that there are much bigger implications of her using her power. I mean,
right.
time is being altered, and yeah, that's gonna have some consequences.
Timey
Yeah.
wimey wibbly wobbly.
Oh yes.
JP Smee, what about you? What were some of the things you didn't were there anything you didn't like?
It's funny because I was totally getting ready to talk about something, and then one of the comments you just made, Will, made me kind of stop and rethink it. And that was your comment about seeing the world through her perspective. Because I hadn't really taken that into account. I was going to comment specifically on the diner sequence, the really just super cliched, almost caricature-esque portrayals of like the truckers and like their voices and the way that they talk and just in everything, like all of that. But you're right. It totally is from her perspective and her perception of the world. And all of a sudden it turned from a gripe to like, hey, that's kind of brilliant, that she would see the world that way. So yeah, you just ruined the one bad thing. Good job.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well,
Um,
that's you're also assuming that that's really the intent of the developers, and they weren't just being that lazy. But
right, and
let's
that's
give them the benefit of the doubt
but
and
the thing is,
suggest that
like,
that's
actually looking at that like the fact that that's even a possibility, that interpretation, it really kind of completely changes that
right.
sequence for me.
And I buy it. I buy
Oh
that
yeah, oh yeah, it makes
as
perfect sense.
intentional. Yeah.
Now the only other thing, and it's kind of echoing what you said, John, is the bottles, like finding the bottles. That was just kind of unnecessary. She should have already had something set up, or
Right.
she could have set it up for us. There was
Or
really no
she
reason.
had the one bottle. Like just
Right, right. I think it
do
was
that.
really
I don't know.
just trying to give you an opportunity to kind of break up things and slow down the pace, because really I think this episode was definitely shorter. Like not even like a little bit. Like I think it was a lot shorter than episode one. And so it felt like they were kind of trying to drag it out a little bit. They used that to kind
Right.
of slow down the progress, which yeah, it was just artificial and unnecessary.
Yeah, it makes me wonder how the rest of the episodes are going to go. If they're going to be that quick, or is it that they didn't story beats wise? It just wouldn't have worked to cut it up any other way, but to have episode two be a little shorter.
Right.
I don't
I would
know.
hope not. I would hope not. I like the wisdom the game has, like the real world movie lists in the emails.
Yes.
There's a lot
I
of
I
real
was
world wisdom
I
there.
was I was enjoying a lot of that.
I loved all the Doctor Who references and
Yeah, there's a ton of
Back to the
pop culture
Future
references.
references. Yeah, that was awesome.
Did anybody opt in to the Planet of the Apes?
Well, we'll get well, okay. Well, let's move
Okay,
into that. So,
sorry. I
no,
just
no,
because
good segue because that's kind of all of our conversation has been leading to taking a look at the choices and really getting down to what the hell did we do. So that's one of the minor ones. So we'll get to that in a second. Let's look at the major ones, and we're gonna do these in chronological order.
okay.
So I have the game up, and according to the game, and let me just make sure that I'm looking at this correctly. Yeah. So according to the game, there's 5 major decisions in this episode. Um, the very first one involves your conversation with Kate at the beginning of the episode. She, this is after you learn about the fact that her video of her doing some naughty stuff at a party gets uploaded to the internet, and everybody's seen it, and they're all making fun of her. And it's pretty awful. A terrible situation to be in, and I can't imagine, especially at that age, having something like that happen to you. So she basically asks you, what should she do about the fact that that happened to her? And you can either tell her to go to the police, or you can tell her to wait to get more proof. Now, I'll start. Based off of some of the stuff that you kind of experienced in the first episode, I told her to wait to get more proof. Because to me, the first episode demonstrated that calling the Prescott family out on anything is going to get you fucking nowhere, regardless of who you're ratting them out to, because they pretty much own everybody. So I told her to wait to get more proof. JP Smee, what did you say?
I did the same for precisely the same reason. I felt like if I did not have, or if she did not have a solid case, it was going to backfire completely.
Right. Yeah. What about you, Will?
I did. I also rewound time and chose that option also, and
So originally you went
because
to
the
with
game
the
kind of
police
tells you
one.
to.
Well, the game's not
The game
telling you
hints that
to.
you kind of
It's
should.
just suggesting that you may want to at least see the other option. It never tells you what to do. It
Right.
just
I'm curious to
strongly
know.
hints that you should probably explore both options before you make your choice.
I want to know what happens if you tell her to go to the police.
Oh, I am curious too.
I, for what it's worth, I fully plan on playing this game again and intentionally picking very different choices the next
Yeah.
time because I want to see the other stories. Because
I
I feel
have
like
to
this game
assume-
has many stories.
I have to assume if you look at the structure of the episode and the way it's laid out, this decision to me directly must impact the final sequence of the episode. So I wonder if you told her to go to the police, if you would have if the ending of this episode would have been anywhere near the same as it was.
I agree. I can't see how it would be the same.
So the three of us, we were in the 67th percentile in terms of us and the rest of the world. So 60% of the world agreed with our decision and went our way. 33% stuck with the decision of telling her to go to the police. So 33% of the people out there had a completely different experience than we did. That's kind of cool.
That's very cool.
The second big decision, which I didn't think this was going to be as big as it was, but the game is saying it's a major decision, so that makes me nervous about my choice, was whether or not you answered Kate's call in the diner. So as you and Chloe are leaving the diner that you meet at the beginning of the game, you receive a call from Kate. Chloe gives you shit for looking at your phone to begin with and guilting you not to answer. So I chose to answer the call because Chloe is being a brat and Kate is going through some serious shit and I need to be a good friend. So I answered the call. Will, what did you do?
Yeah, I let the call go to voicemail.
You ass!
I was with my lesbian BFF
Oh
at the time.
my god!
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
All right. Well, you're a terrible human being, and I can't believe you did it to Kate.
She guilted me into it, and I felt bad.
She does. I mean, she
does.
She lays it on pretty thick. Yeah. Jinx. Ditto. All right. Well then, JP Smith, what did you do? Did you also let it go to voicemail, or did you take it?
No, I dude, I'm still on the guilt train
I was
from
gonna say you
episode
must
one.
feel bad about that photo thing, so you're doing
Dude,
everything you can to get back with
I am
in
doing
case good
everything
graces.
I can to make her happy
That's awesome.
and make it up to her. And I seriously like, by the way, I totally had like a whole sequence with her like, why would you do that? Why would you do that to me? Just take a picture. It was
Are you
awful.
serious? Oh, in the
Oh
bedroom
yeah.
when you
Oh
brought the
yeah.
book back? Oh,
Dude, it was awful.
damn straight. Damn
It
fucking
was
straight.
it
Did you
was
did you
it was
take a picture, John?
yeah.
No, I helped her ass. I intervened. I told David to back the fuck up.
Yeah, I didn't even
Freaking JP
try.
Smee just stood there
I
and took
just
a
took a
picture of
picture.
her ass.
And yeah, she's basically like,
Oh,
yeah,
look, this
it
poor
was
defenseless
awful.
girl getting chewed out by this big scary dude. Let me photograph that.
Yep. So,
Terrible
yeah,
human
I
being.
totally answered that call. Like, I didn't even hesitate for a second.
So, good, good. Damn right. All right, so, well, JP Smee, you and I were in the 80 percentile. 80% of
Nice.
us chose to do that.
Nice.
Will was in the 20 percentile. All you jackasses out there that let this poor girl in her moment of need sit there all alone. So good job. Hope you feel good about yourself. Um, let's see. Next major decision. Uh, junkyard scene. Frank. How did you guys feel about that sequence, by the way?
Um,
It just seemed to come out of nowhere for me. I mean, it.
I feel like it was they were trying to fill in a possible plot hole with her. Like, where did she get the money from to
Right.
try to get out of town? Um, and maybe set her up for another bigger conflict later. Like, put her in danger.
Yeah, like I'm hoping this pays off somewhere in a later episode
Yeah.
because like it seemed like they meant for it to be this big crazy thing, and instead it was just like okay, one
Yeah,
more
it didn't
weird thing
it didn't
happening in this day
it
of
didn't
weird
really feel
things.
like it was that big of a deal to
Right.
me.
So anyway, um, this one is interesting looking at the stats. So I chose not to try and shoot Frank. Um, Similar to Will, I put myself in Max's shoes, and I just didn't see her having it in her to do that.
Right.
Um, Especially the fact, everything that she saw happen with Chloe. I don't know if this is the next day or a few days later, but after seeing what happened with Chloe in the bathroom with Nathan in the first episode, stopping that, like, I didn't think she would be into then trying to shoot somebody. So,
Right.
um, plus I just I didn't want to put the character through that. It's weird how this game makes you protective of her, but
Mhm.
I felt very protective in that moment, and didn't want to put her through that. And I didn't. I was going to be really pissed if Chloe gave her shit for doing that too. Um, she does in a small way, but I think if I recall
For about
correctly,
2 seconds.
yeah, she ultimately decides that's probably the best way it should have gone,
Hmm.
and she's glad she made that you made that decision, which is fucking damn right. So, JP Smith, what about you? What did you choose to do?
I did the same,
Okay,
and for all the same reasons. So yeah.
cool. What about you, Will? What'd you do? I bet you tried to shoot his ass, didn't you?
No, I didn't because
Okay.
basically I pulled out the mental balance sheet and I was like, okay, I took the rap for her little pot bust,
So
and
now
the
she
buck's got
can deal with the
to. Yeah,
consequences of
So
whatever happens
bullshit
here.
train
the
stops.
Oh
karma is
my
balanced
god.
now.
I love your
Yeah.
reasoning for things. That's awesome. Well, surprisingly, we were in the minority with this decision. Um,
Really?
we were in the 46th percentile.
It's
Um,
interesting because when I played the game 2 days ago, I think it was 50-50.
nice. So since then,
So
things have changed.
it's still kind of live and
It's
changing.
close. Yeah,
Well, that,
it's not
but the
like
fact that
drastically
it's
different.
the fact that it's constantly
Oh yeah,
evolving
real
kind of
time.
makes
Yeah,
me that I kind of got to just nerd out about that for a
yeah.
second. That's
So 54% of the players out there tried to shoot Frank. That could not have gone well. Um,
Well, seeing as it's phrased as tried to
yeah,
implies it did not
clearly
end
it's
well.
that or like maybe she shoots him but or grazes him or something. Yeah, it's ultimately I think
It's probably she probably has the safety on.
that yeah something happens to where he doesn't get injured and he ends up taking the gun regardless. That's my opinion. It's whether or not you give it to him or he goes, "Give me that, stupid."
Right. It did feel like a non-choice.
Right.
Is kind of what it boiled down
Yeah.
to.
All right. So the next big, like to me, this one of the top two decisions in this episode. Were you able to save Kate's life? Or I guess another way you could phrase it, if you're a cold-hearted bitch, did you try to save Kate's life? And hell yeah, I saved Kate's life. Shit, I was scared though. God, because that's the point I referred to earlier, where Max perfectly spells out she used her powers in a major way to basically stop time.
Yes, which was
Go to
awesome.
the roof where Kate is standing on the top of the roof at the edge of the dorm roof, about to jump. Everybody's watching. Dude, the look on my face when that part came up, I was like, just terror. So you get to the roof, and Max is just so completely fucking out of it from having done what she just did. She doesn't know if she can rewind time if something goes wrong, and that instantly puts like 1,000 times more pressure on you to make the right decisions, to really think about what you say, and it was back and forth. It was a roller coaster. There, I would make one choice and she'd seem really receptive, but I'm still gonna do it, and it's like, oh God, no. So then it was just so tense. But I think for me, I reminded her about her dad, and I think that's really what sealed the deal. Because she kind of feels like he's the only person that's in her corner, and I got that based off of going through some of her information in her room. Her mom was really antagonistic towards her in some of the either like a letter or an email or something like that. So she seemed to have a better relationship with her dad, and that's kind of where I got that decision from, and that seemed to be the one that sealed it. But whew, God, that was tense. I was so relieved when she steps down. Will, what did you do? I'm curious.
She basically died.
Oh, 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 oh my God!
Huron, because that's awesome and
Wait, how
awful.
does she basically die? Is she either dead or?
Well, I was gonna say that this part of the game was the best part of Life is Strange, episode 1 and 2, all put together, because they make you
yeah.
feel the desperation of where you keep trying and you can't get her to not jump, and they keep telling you to do something. So in my mind, I was like picturing, okay, you have to somehow like set up something for her to jump on, and then that fails, and you realize that they put you in the situation of where she realizes her new thing, and then you have to slowly walk through the crowd.
Yep.
And even though she died, it was still really rewarding to play through, and definitely sad.
So I
And
have to
then,
ask.
yeah,
Sorry, no, you finish. I don't mean to cut you off there.
I was just gonna say, and then I've realized the guilt of not answering the call, and then suddenly
That's
that the game
right.
works for 10 seconds and
Ass.
makes it worth it. But
God.
Okay, so my question to you, because you mentioned trying to set something up, did you like basically futz around so much that you didn't make it to the roof, or did you at least make it to the roof and just
Oh,
kind
good
of
question.
not make it past the
so
conversation
I think
choices?
I think they force you end up futzing around until the powers are realized, and then yes, I made it to the roof
Okay,
and then failed to talk her out of jumping.
okay,
Oh, God.
wow. See,
Yeah.
this actually now, if you hadn't guessed it, yes, I saved her too because my reaction was pretty great.
Yeah, I kind of figured that.
I'm kind of excited though because this gives us a really interesting opportunity to see the story to really diverge. Like as much as
True.
we were kind of poking fun at me for being the jerk that I was for taking the picture. Ultimately, that's not like world shattering, right? This is a
No,
human
yeah,
life ended.
and it could have a major impact on where the story
What?
goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
For
is
Will.
what is this
Well,
going to
next
mean?
episode, time's going to
That's
accelerate outside of their bubble, and the entire world outside of their bubble is going to be ashes and grim. And then it's going to be a survival roguelike. You leave the dome of time, and it's a survival roguelike. Oh, it's also a turn-based RPG.
Oh, there. Nice.
We last time we
Isometric to
did
boot.
talk about our predictions, so I think that's fair. Entirely unlikely, but fair. So, but okay. So let me ask too: Is the game? Does the game make it absolutely perfectly clear that she's dead? Like she didn't
Oh yeah,
she's not
yeah,
on life support or like in a
yeah,
coma. She did.
yeah.
Okay.
Basically,
Damn.
yeah. If you were a witch doctor, you could read her thoughts
Oh, that's.
on the pavement.
Oh, oh God. Oh,
Oh
damn.
my gosh.
That honestly, I have to say, if that would have happened to me, I would have been really upset. I don't know if I would have reloaded the game or reloaded chapter 2 right then and there and played it differently, but
Yeah.
I
I
can
probably
see
would have like the next day because that would
I
have
can see
made
how
me
it
really
would make you
upset.
want to do it, but on the other hand, it's like this is so brilliant. Like that something seemingly, admittedly, we're still completely in the dark with regards to the rest of the series, but like at this point, this feels huge. And the
Oh
fact
yeah,
that they actually accounted for this and are weaving this story together, and this is the first real decision, even from episode one over. Like, this is the first real decision where it feels like, holy crap, this is big, what I do.
yeah,
And I'm I'm absolutely in love with it. I think it's
yeah.
wonderful.
I want to take this moment too. I got to go back to things I liked about the game because I really, really, really need to applaud Don't Nod, the developers, for doing this. After you play through Chapter 2 and you go back to the main menu, there's actually a prompt that comes up on the screen that says, if you connected or related to the events that happened in this episode, please, feel free to reach out to these help groups
Yes.
um, and this website for information. Like, it's one thing to feature such a serious and weighty topic as suicide and teen suicide, and kind of peer pressure influence suicide, bullying in a game like this. Um, and first, they don't trivialize it at all. If anything, they really do a good job of putting you in that position and making you feel for these characters, making you feel their pain, and really kind of understanding their mindset. But then to also understand that, you know, that this game is that impacting and is that powerful at times that it can elicit a very strong response to somebody and to provide those resources. I thought that was really, really awesome.
Hmm.
And I really appreciated them going the extra mile because they didn't have to.
Hmm.
Um, so I thought that was really awesome that they did something like that. So that I forgot to mention that in my things that I liked. So for us, JP Smee, she lives. For Will, she is gone, and she will be
So what are the
remembered forever.
percentages on
It was
that? I
sad.
imagine they're pretty
There,
wildly different.
um, yeah, Will is definitely in the minority. 36% of people were not able to save her. 64% were able to save her. So
Yeah, she was like,
it'll
"What
be
do I
really
do?"
interesting.
And I said, "People will forget." And she goes, "Nah, jump."
What? You said people will
Oh
forget?
my
Oh my
god! I don't
god.
remember what I know. I looked at that and
I,
I went, "No, that's not
yeah,
going to be what she needs to hear." But
that
I
was
don't
my
remember what I
reaction
actually
too.
picked. I don't remember what the actual choice I picked was. I just know that it was better than that. than that one. Oh man. The internet
Oh.
never forgets, Will. It never forgets. Okay, so that leads into the last major decision. Um,
And this is the
in
one
the
that I know is
principles.
going to be awesome.
Yeah, this one is going to definitely have an impact on the rest of the game, for sure, without a doubt. Um, um, you're all in the principal's office discussing either Kate's attempted suicide or successful suicide, and kind of discussing, capping off the events of the day and what they mean, where people are, how you're going to move forward from here. And the principal very directly asks you, you know, what the fuck do you know? you basically confess to having talked with Kate that morning and to knowing something about her situation, and the principal presses you to spill your guts. So you can blame 3 people. You can blame David, who seems like a semi-legitimate choice given what you know about him, what you've seen in his garage, what you see him like super creepy stalking her right before she goes off to the dorm to stand up on the roof. So
I forgot about that actually.
Semi-legit choice there. You have the wonderful angel face, just pure reeks of innocence, Nathan. And then you have Mr. Jefferson. Now, Mr. Jefferson was interesting as an option because up until the final moments before she leaves the school, goes outside, gets creepy stalked by David, then goes to the dorm. She's having an argument with Mr. Jefferson. To be honest, I didn't pay attention. I don't remember what they were talking about. I don't think I overheard it. Or I wasn't paying attention. I wasn't trying to overhear it, so I have no idea what they were arguing about. It obviously seemed like a distressing conversation between the two of them, clearly because she left in tears, freaking out. So you could blame him. So I was definitely in the majority with my decision. I will admit, I tried blaming David first. I did not like how that outcome looked like it was going to go. So I rewound time, and I blamed Nathan. So, JP Smee, who did you blame?
So, I went for Nathan first. And I did not like how that was going. Because the principal basically straight up said, I don't trust you because you did not tell me what was going on earlier, and now you're telling me this? And because I basically spilled all the beans about the gun and the bathroom and all that stuff.
Now I'm curious because I had the same thing because I likewise made the decision not to rat Nathan out earlier in episode 1. Right. I wonder how things would have gone, and I'm really curious to get Will's thoughts in a moment. Because he did rat out Nathan, so things could have gone much different for him if he chose to blame Nathan this time. We'll get to you in just a second. Well, hold your tongue. So anyway,
that
go ahead,
being said, I actually went with the teacher, and I did not realize I was actually accusing him of being the cause, but I did actually see that yes, they did have a conversation, and it was immediately after that conversation, she went off and tried to kill herself. There was no anything in between those two events. It was conversation, her crying, and it's funny. Maybe not funny, but I totally tried to chase her and block her, physically.
Oh yeah, no, I did too. And she tells you to stop. Or leave her alone
and she's so completely distraught. And I'm like, dude, what did you say? And then I actually had a conversation with him, which I didn't like how it went, so I rewound it, whatever. But he was coming off, I felt accusatorily, like he was kind of blaming her when I had a conversation with him. And I think it was ultimately a conversation that I rewound, so technically it didn't happen, but whatever.
But you had the insight to his mindset.
Right.
Based on
and
that,
so I feel like he may have meant well, but I think that him coming off the way he did ultimately pushed her over the edge. Plus, his phone call that he got that interrupted our conversation.
That was rude.
It not only was it rude, but I kind of feel like there was something going on there. And so I just had a bad vibe. And I don't know what more I can say than I had a bad vibe about it. So, yeah, in the end, I picked the teacher. And, yeah.
Wow.
His little trip has been canceled. And, yeah.
It'll be really interesting to see what that does to your game going forward, because I have no idea where that's gonna go. That's interesting. All right, so Will, I'm really curious. Who did you blame?
I first blamed the step douche.
Appropriate step douche. I like it.
Because in the chat, or not the chat, in the dialogue options, I thought it was going to be like a shooting gallery of blame. So I was just like, oh, we'll just start with the top, just blame everybody.
No, I think
And
that's fair.
so
Especially
I chose that.
being a
Yeah,
teenager, you can assume she was just going to start going, ah, is everybody?
right. So rewound time and blamed Nathan again. And
Okay, so
the principal actually uh, blames you for talking shit if you don't blame Nathan. If you blame anyone else, I think he says, "Oh, well, you seem to have a habit of just placing blame wherever." But then you tell him it's
nice.
Nathan, and he kind of agrees and says, "Okay, I'll look into it." Nathan tries to speak up,
Ah,
and he shuts him up.
oh man, I feel like I missed out like on the right choice.
Yeah,
Cause
because
yeah,
clearly
oh,
that is what put her in the descent to
Now
wanting
does
to jump off the roof, not the teacher. Even though the teacher, in my alternate timeline, the teacher is the man in black who is going across the wasteland
oh,
that they
is
have
he?
to.
Oh,
Anyways, um, um, yeah, no, I think that Nathan was supposed to be the main cause for
I mean,
her
yeah,
being
ultimately,
that
yeah.
in the story.
if we're to buy her story, he's the one who drugged her. He's the one who put her in that state. And then um, we don't know if he's necessarily the one who videotaped or posted the video, but more or
No,
less,
I don't think he did the
I don't think. I
videotaping.
think it
I
was
think
probably
it was
Victoria.
Victoria. Yeah,
Yeah,
Um,
so
but yeah,
or
you're
or her
led to
friend.
believe or that he is the main. He is the catalyst for getting this all started with Kate. So that's why I blamed his ass. I just don't like him either pulling a gun on Chloe. Like, he's clearly up to no good. Something's not right up here. He needs to be taken down
yeah,
multiple pegs. Now, did he get suspended immediately for you,
yes,
Will? Two
yep,
weeks, I think it was, or something like that?
yeah, something like that.
Okay. Same thing happened with me. So that was still the same. So I think really for you and I, the two big key differences was whether or not he fully bought into your story or whether he's like, I'm skeptical because you didn't say anything to me earlier when I asked you, and now suddenly you're bringing it all up. Um,
Yeah, and I expect a backlash in episode 3.
oh, I do too, without a doubt.
Yeah, I don't think the teacher got fired per se. He's been put on like unpaid suspension kind of thing, similar.
Oh, shit.
Um, and then he was also literally like told he was not going on his trip, like because there was the big field trip or
The
whatever. Yeah, the
photography
photo.
competition.
Yeah, he that has been canceled, just outright. That entire thing has been canceled, and when the credits are rolling and you're kind of getting the post, everything, you see the principal basically chewing him out as he's about to drive off, and then he drives off, and I think that might be the last I see of him.
Well, I saw the same cutscene. I think that's
Oh,
standard.
you did? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Um,
Well, in from my context though, it felt like, oh, he might not be coming back.
right. Well, so those were the major decisions of the game. So those were the decisions we can assume are really going to have a major impact
Right.
on the rest of the episodes for us. How big of an impact? How small of an impact? I guess we'll see. If episode 1 to 2 is anything to go by, they could dramatically alter what we experience. So
I'm
it's
just
both
excited.
exciting and terrifying at the same time. Some of the smaller decisions, I'll just take a look at these real quick, see if there were any that stand out to me. Um, I actually had a problem where I swear I um, I made different decisions than the game is telling me that I made. Um, like, for example, I know I erased a link to Kate's video off the mirror, um, but for some reason it's telling me I didn't. And but I'm
Wow.
not erasing it. I'm in the 5 percentile. Um, so I feel real shitty about that. Um,
Yeah, I think that's even worse than no, maybe not worse than taking a
and
picture.
then it says that I wasn't friendly with Taylor. That's one of Victoria's friends that's texting outside during the beginning of the episode outside the dorm room next to a tree. It says I wasn't
Right.
friendly with her, but I know that I was. So again,
It's
I'm
interesting because
confused about that.
I was confused about that because I had the same outcome. It showed that I was not friendly, and I remember distinctly being friendly.
Okay, unless being friendly is being a complete bitch to her because that's what she's used to, then I don't know. But Yeah, I
Right.
accepted Warren's invitation to see Planet of the Apes.
Yes.
I'm really curious to see if that actually happens, and if that happens in the game, or if it's like
I
something
would
they
be
talk about after the fact.
I would be so happy.
Um,
I can't even like fully explain. I'm a giant. I love that series. So please, that would be
I
great.
the only other one that really stands out to me was the the Vortex Club party, which I flat out said, "Fuck you! I don't care about your damn party." Eh. Um, and then the whether or not you helped Warren. Now, I thought I helped Warren with his experiment, so either I didn't help him all the way, and there like you would help him further than I did, or again the game is getting all wonky on me and telling me I didn't do something that I did. Um,
Yeah, there were varying levels of help. I don't know if you encountered that.
yeah, like I told him to add, I think it was the potassium first,
Hmm.
or maybe it was just like whatever one I told him to add first, and I told him to add the other one. Then I told him to add a lot of the other one, and then it kind of exploded in his face, and he was like, "Oh, that's so cool, but please don't tell anybody about this experiment."
Yeah,
And
that's where I left
yeah,
it off
me
too.
too. I
So
thought it was like done, but it's telling
maybe
me
it
that I
wasn't.
didn't help him. So, there was another girl in the class that
So if you talk to the teacher, though, if you talk to the teacher and ask her, "Hey, for this week's thing, what do you add?" She goes, "Oh, chlorine."
fuck my life.
What?
Yeah, and you add
Oh,
chlorine, and it's a
so you're
purple
asking
dark gas instead.
on behalf of yourself, not Warren. So technically, you're still keeping it a
Genius.
secret. See, I was worried that it was going to be something like that.
Genius. I didn't even
Ah.
think to ask.
Because he says,
Yeah.
"Don't talk to anybody about my experiment." So I just assumed, okay, I'm done. Uh,
Well,
damn
that's
it.
why I think that's why, because they do. She phrases it weird. She's like, "Let's just say we're in present time, and you have this exact same experiment."
Mm,
We're
Something
in
weird
present
yes.
like that.
time.
Damn it.
Nice.
Oh well. So yeah, I guess I didn't help him then. I tried.
I mean,
Sorry.
in my mind, he got help, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it did something. It blew up in his face. I liked that he stayed covered with soot
Hmm.
the rest of the episode after that.
Well, it's funny when you get it right. It's just a purple ball of gas, and he goes, "Oh wow." He's like, so. He was like, "That was really interesting," and that's all you get.
See, you would never really even know that you helped. Oh, okay. Whatever. It's all good. That's life. You don't win them all.
Yeah, it's
Um,
nothing big.
I watered my plant.
yeah, I watered mine too.
And the
I
plant
remember
was,
this time after last time I didn't, and it yelled at me.
yeah, likewise, because the plant was near death.
Yep. Um, so
Yeah.
that's really about it.
She's really good at spilling liquids on stuff.
Right. But hey, that rewind mechanic though. Okay, so that was Life is Strange episode 2. Those were all the big decisions and some of the minor ones. Our thoughts. So let's kind of wrap things up a little bit. Um, Overall, Will, are you still on board with this game? Does it still have your attention? Are you just as excited or more so? Or are you like, what the fuck, I'm done?
Well, I know that it's going to frustrate me because it's a confined game experience, but I'm definitely looking forward to it. I like it more than the Telltale Walking Dead's.
See,
Impressive.
I would not call it confined. I mean,
Um,
it's confined to an extent. Yes,
to a
obviously.
large one.
There are. It's not like there's an infinite number of possibilities, but it's a lot less confined than you would, in my opinion, than what you might see in like a Telltale game. Um, but okay, so you're still on board. Good. I'm happy to hear that. JP Smee, how do you feel? Are you still down with this game, or are you ready to move on?
No, I'm definitely on board, and I gotta just say, I would have been very mad if Will had chosen to drop it because I want to know what happens in his game.
We have to
Mhm.
know now.
Seriously. Yeah, no, dude, I'm super on board. This is, yes, I need to know.
Yep. So same with me. I'm on board. I echo everything you guys have said. I think this game so far has been fantastic. Um, I I had expectations for what episode 2 was going to turn out to be. The game definitely went in a different direction, a much darker direction than I expected. Um, but I think from a storytelling perspective, they handled it with aplomb. Just this thing had me hooked, and I was starting to wane a little bit towards the middle, but that ending, God, what a good, solid ending, or a really depressing ending, for some of you. But
Well,
even
did your
even
ending
still, go ahead.
did your ending end where you were on the bench looking at the moon, looking at the sun or whatever?
Yeah, watching the eclipse
Yeah.
happen that wasn't
Okay.
supposed to happen.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. So on my ending, and I'm assuming John's, we saw her in the hospital recovering.
Yeah.
Did
Yep.
what did you get? Did you get anything
Uh,
with her?
I
Like
want
a
to say
gravesite or something?
a casket lowering, perhaps.
Oh,
Yeah,
too
funeral.
soon.
Funeral. In the rain, of course.
Of course. Oh man,
God.
that's
Yeah.
So yeah, what a good job for bringing that up, JP Smee.
We donated her.
sorry. I was
science
curious.
body
I had to
science.
know.
What'd you say?
She donated her body to science.
Did okay? Are you being facetious, or did she seriously donate her body to science?
No, she seriously did. Yeah.
Oh,
No, I'm just kidding. No,
oh.
I
I
don't.
was gonna say like, whoa.
Fuck you, man. I was like, wow, that's an interesting direction to go with this. I would not have expected that. All right. Well, anyway, great episode 2. I can't wait to see what's coming up in future episodes. We'll get to episode 3. Similarly to how we took a little while to get to episode 2, we'll get to episode 3 eventually, but it's definitely going to be in the next few weeks. We'll be checking that out and posting our impressions of that. So until then, please keep joining us every week. Thanks for joining me this week. Will, appreciate you coming back. JP Smee, appreciate you coming back. Take care, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Later.
God, I can't believe you let her die. A final thank you to Will and JP Smee for joining me this week, and a big thanks to all of you for watching. If you liked what you saw, please be sure to hit that like button, share, and subscribe. Also, don't forget to join us next week as we discuss our impressions of Moon Hunters. Until then, have a great week.